Hey everyone, how's it going? So we are in lesson 5 today. And before we dig into the lesson, I just want to mention that I know a handful of you have mentioned that you feel like you've fallen behind on these lessons. No worries. I get it. I know it's the holiday time and that your issue is already that you're short on time. So I just recommend if you get a quick second to watch some of the videos, that's great. I'll keep this group up for a bit. You can feel free to watch these videos later. And you also now have access through the emails that I've been sending out that they are in that post. So remember, you can come back to this. And even if you can't do the action steps right now, even if you can just watch the video and start ruminating on what I'm saying, so that come January, when you're ready to make some big changes and really start reclaiming that time, that you're ready and you're armed with some tools. Okay, so don't feel guilty if you haven't been able to listen to all the lessons and take action on them yet. I get it. However, I will challenge you to make a little bit of time just to watch the videos at least. So today for lesson 5, we're going to talk about time blocking. And I'm really excited about this lesson because even if you haven't watched any of the others, this is a really good one. I'm going to give you some quick tips that are really going to make it, hey, thanks Angela. Thanks for hopping on. I'm going to give you some tips that'll make this successful because there's a lot of talk about time blocking. However, I think that sometimes when we start to implement it, there are certain things that can make us stumble right away, and I'm going to help you make sure that that's a success. So, what is time blocking? Time blocking is the process of looking at all of the time that you have to do any tasks, and you can look at time blocking both in your personal and your business life. And it's the process of taking your time and literally creating chunks and declaring what you will work on during these blocks of time. So it's how it sounds, blocking out your time. So essentially you're taking however much, 30 minutes to 3 hours maybe, and you're saying during this time I work on X. And sometimes it's a broad topic, sometimes it's narrow. We're going to talk about 2 different ways of time blocking. One is vertical. So like the way of looking at vertical time blocking is a day. So for me, every Monday, I work on my business. That's my day where I do admin things. Sometimes I do strategy sessions. I leave those days open. I don't have many meetings. I literally am just working on my business, okay? So it's a very open day. And I keep it pretty open because I do a lot of other meeting time. So that's an example of vertical time blocking where you're chunking out this time where every Monday, so it's not it repeats weekly, but it's say every Monday or every Tuesday or every Tuesday, Thursday, you do a certain theme. The other way of looking at it is horizontal. Okay, so horizontal would be every day from 9 to 10 a.m. I do social media. Or every day from 9 to 10 a.m. I work out, okay? So whatever your way of looking at it is, and I would say typically for a lot of people, they use a combination of that if they're doing time blocking, okay? So you want to look at things that repeat daily, things that repeat weekly, and that's how you start budgeting out your time blocking. So what you start looking at is activities that you do that have themes or groupings that you can start looking at, like, gosh, every week I repeat my workout. Workout is a great thing to do time blocking in because then maybe, so for me, I fit my workout in if I do because I struggle, but it's every day before 7 a.m. So it's that 5:30 to 7 a.m. If I'm going to work out, it's going to either be a 5:30 class that I attend or a 6 a.m. time that I meet my friend 2 days a week. So that's my block. It's a horizontal block of when I work out, okay? I don't do much. I don't do evening classes. I don't do classes during the day. I don't take time outside of that for my workout. That's my physical activity when I set it. It's a horizontal theme. So in a vertical theme, like I told you before, Monday is one of the days that I do admin stuff. And then Fridays is another admin day for me. I also theme that I do client meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays consistently, sometimes on Wednesdays, but these are, so you're sort of seeing some recurring themes. Now, every business is going to be really different. A lot of my clients, so they'll do time blocking, again, horizontally. So when they come into work, they're, say, like 8 to 9 a.m. is all sales. Like they're following up, they're using maybe if they have, they're following up on all client things to help keep driving their sales. Some of them are very like product forward. And they wholesale. So they're going to be looking at a CRM. It's called Client Resource Management. So if they have lots of people that they need to constantly be following up with to keep people moving through the pipeline so that they then get sales, that's one way that people do it. They come in, they get that done, that first hour of every day. That's a horizontal time block. So these are different ways to look at it. So you guys ready? I'm going to give you a good secret. So when we decide, so we go from not time blocking to start blocking out our time. We can get frustrated because we'll say, well, Danny, my schedule's already sort of set for next week. I already have things on the calendar. I already have some expectations. And this is where my little secret is that I think it's really effective, is if we look out at least 3 weeks ahead. Most people don't have too much planned and like going 3 weeks or more out. But for next week and the week after, oftentimes we already have a lot of meetings. So I would recommend you look out 3 weeks. And right now is a really fun time for that because we're going into holiday mode. So our next 2 weeks are probably sort of chaotic and very atypical from what your standard week looks like. So if you start looking out into January right now and you say, what do I want my weeks and my days to look like? And you sort of what I recommend doing is take a calendar, a weekly calendar, and just sort of sketch it out. Say, these are the top 5 activities that I do. Maybe it's meetings with people, maybe it's social media, it could be content creation, it could be writing. There's just general blocks. I know one person who does an education theme. Every Tuesday is education. They are either educating someone, so someone on their staff, or they are learning something new. I mean, that's an awesome thing to budget in time for and say that this is my day to learn versus like, this is my day to just like run on the hamster wheel and create lots of things. So if you start looking out into January, you create a list of the activities that are recurring for you or that you should be making time for. And you can do this, like I said, personally or professionally. Admin, social media, content creation, client meeting, how you create and or deliver your product, and then start blocking it out. You can look at it both in the horizontal way or in the vertical way and just start setting that intention. Now, this topic pairs beautifully with last Monday's topic of boundaries. So once you've set this as this is what I want to, this is what I'm going to be spending my time on during these days, now you have to decide, are you going to hold to it? Okay. This is where it gets a little tough for a lot of people, that the idea is great, but the actual implementation is where they fall short. And so what I would say is, and this is how I do it in my own self, I'm pretty guarded about a lot of the things that I do with my time blocking. However, it's still my choice. And so like Friday, which is a day that I usually work on my business, I chose to take a meeting with a new client. And I don't often meet clients outside of those days, but I said, you know what? It's okay. Friday morning, I had the whole day free. I was happy to meet her. I was really looking forward to us moving forward. And so I was okay putting that new client on my calendar to meet with her. So sometimes it's just one of those things, like it's okay if we choose, but be very cautious about how soft we are with those boundaries. And it's almost what I would suggest. My good friend Danielle Savory has been teaching me how to listen to our bodies. So I'm often just totally up in my head, but listening to like that gut feeling. So if we're excited, like we're going to take on a different opportunity, maybe go outside of the bounds, if we're excited about it and be like, okay, this is okay, versus feeling, you know, the feeling of when you take on that guilt and you're like, yeah, I could do that. And there's resistance. Then that's a time that you should be holding strong to that boundary and you shouldn't do it. Okay. So our bodies will tell us when we're being lit up by it and it's okay to be flexible. And that's a time when we really shouldn't, that we really need to guard ourselves and our time and how we're choosing to use it. So I'll keep this short because I know we're all tight on time, but I really recommend starting basic, just big chunks versus being too specific. So high level here, make a list of recurring activities that you do in your business and or personal life. and start thinking about, gosh, how could I start grouping this to on either a weekly or daily basis, or, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's so many ways to look at it. But how do I want to be using it? How can I bucket the things that I do so that it's all the common things are done at one time versus me spreading it out and being scattered all over? And also so that I know there's a time every week something's done. So I'm supposed to do my admin bookkeeping, like take a look at my QuickBooks file every Monday. The Mondays that I don't do it, I'm not kidding. I swear to God, every one of those weeks, something goes wrong. It's because I didn't look at it. I'm supposed to look and be in control of all of that and have an idea every week. And if I space it, if I didn't make time for it for some reason, it always comes back to bite me in the ass. So start looking at those activities you need to do, write them out, and then print off a blank calendar for a week, a 1-week sheet. Start writing out, what do you want that perfect day to look like? And then take a look into January, take a look about 3 weeks out at least. Start saying, how could I start doing this? Okay. And then hold strong on your boundaries. Okay. So those are your tips for today. Please let me know. I'd love to hear in the comments about what things you're going to start time blocking. So what are the activities that you want to start intentionally creating the time for? And let me know what challenges you have, what questions about this. Remember, it's a learned practice like all of these things are. So we're practicing it. It won't be perfect. And experiment with how it works and then change it. And Angela, can you share a tool for calendars that you use? So yes, I use Gmail. So I use my Google Calendar all the time. It is like one of the foundational elements of my entire life. And I will print off a 1-week calendar. So in Google Calendar, you can do a view. In almost any calendar app you would use, you could do a view of looking at, 1 month or 1 week, and sometimes even down to the day. And it's really specific for time slots. But for 1 week, you would be able to print off a weekly view of what that calendar would look like so that you could start messing around with it. I mean, you could go super basic, just write off take a blank piece of paper, draw some squares. Whatever works for you. But Google Calendar is what I use. And one of the other tips you can do, so I don't do this for time blocking, but I know some people that do, and is you can put in there, like, you could block out literally, like, put a square of, like, say 6 or like 8 a.m. to noon is a certain activity. And you can put it in there, and you can choose the preference of keeping it showing you as busy or available. So if you want, so say I put a thing is that I'm going to be meeting with clients this day, that's my block, but I still want people to be able to schedule time there. So I could do a block of like, this is what I'm doing, but people could still schedule time in, so that, that might be a little too detailed, but I have a Calendly app that I use so that people can schedule meetings with me and I don't have to be the go-between, and I put my availability in, so if there's another meeting, they wouldn't be able to schedule it. But using the busy or not busy setting in the event is one of the things you could do. So, sorry, I might have gone in the weeds on that. But yes, let me know what other questions you have. But I love using a calendar software. It's super helpful for me, and I know it is for lots of other people. So thanks for the question, Angela. If anyone else has any questions, let me know. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope time blocking helps you be more effective with your time. Cheers.